You've worked hard your entire life, saved every penny, and now you're ready to enjoy your retirement. You've planned it all: travel, hobbies, maybe even some extra comfort. But then, something unexpected starts to happen. Your money doesn't seem to go as far as it used to. Everyday essentials, the things you rely on, have become shockingly expensive. You might not be able to get the same amount of groceries you used to for the same amount of money. In 2024, food prices increased by over 5%, healthcare costs surged by nearly 6%, and even your favorite coffee or that simple loaf of bread, they've all crept up in price. Now, consider this. For those living on a fixed income, particularly retirees who are no longer earning a paycheck, these price hikes aren't just inconveniences, they're threats to financial stability. So, what does this mean for those of you who have worked hard, saved diligently, and now face rising costs in retirement? For many retirees, the promise of financial security in retirement is starting to unravel, all thanks to inflation. Inflation isn't just a nuisance. It's a ticking clock that eats away at your savings. And with inflation rates hovering above 3% in 2024, the burden isn't likely to disappear soon. The question is, can your retirement savings keep pace, or are you at risk of outliving your money? To understand the depth of this problem, let's take a deeper look at what's really happening. Inflation might seem like a broad, intangible force, but its effects are far from abstract. They are real and immediate, and they differ depending on what you're buying. For instance, fresh fruits have jumped 6% in price this year. If you rely on these items to maintain a healthy diet, that's a significant increase. In the same vein, medical expenses, which tend to consume a larger portion of a retiree's income, have also increased sharply, with healthcare costs rising by 5.8%. A significant portion of your savings could be eroded just by paying for essentials. But that's not all. A report from the Center for Retirement Research shows that between 25% and 45% of households have reduced their retirement savings in response to the ongoing inflation crisis. This is especially concerning for retirees who don't have time on their side to rebuild their savings like younger generations. For many, it's a choice between cutting back on essentials or dipping into retirement funds, a move that could have long-lasting consequences. Beyond the numbers, retirees are also changing their approach to investments. With the Federal Reserve raising interest rates in an attempt to curb inflation, many are turning to safer investment options like bonds and certificates of deposit, CDs. But these types of investments often yield returns that are lower than the inflation rate, which means that your money isn't growing fast enough to keep up with the rising cost of living. For retirees who have relied on their savings to maintain their lifestyle, this could lead to a shrinking purchasing power. The impact doesn't just end at the bank or the grocery store. Many people are having to adjust their plans for retirement entirely. The average retirement age has increased by 3 years since 2020, according to the Center for Retirement Research. Why? Because people simply can't afford to retire as early as they had planned. Some may need to keep working part-time. Others might delay their full retirement indefinitely. This has led to a shift in retirement expectations for many people in their 50s and 60s, with many fearing they might never fully retire at all. One of the things to consider is that inflation doesn't affect everyone the same way. The impact varies significantly depending on where you live and what you spend money on. In urban areas, for example, housing and transportation costs have skyrocketed. A significant rise in rent prices, combined with higher transportation costs, means that urban retirees are facing a heavier financial burden than those in rural areas. Rural retirees, on the other hand, are experiencing large price hikes in essentials like fuel and energy, which are key to daily living. At a global level, inflation is influenced by factors beyond the U.S. domestic economy. Supply chain disruptions, fueled by conflicts such as the war in Ukraine, have caused the prices of things like energy and food to spike. The price of oil, which had already risen sharply in 2023, remained high into 2024. Additionally, the ongoing war in Ukraine has worsened the global food supply, making staple goods such as wheat and corn more expensive. These global pressures combine with domestic inflation to create an economic storm that retirees are ill-prepared to weather. Looking ahead to 2025, inflation may slow down to around 2.5% to 3%, but that doesn't mean things will suddenly get easier. Even if inflation slows, many retirees will still feel the lingering effects of the past few years of high costs. The Federal Reserve's rate hikes, which have sought to keep inflation under control, could lead to slower economic growth or even a mild recession. For retirees, this could mean continued economic strain, especially for those who are overly reliant on low-risk, low-return investments like bonds. In fact, many experts predict that even with inflation slowing in 2025, economic growth may remain sluggish. This will make it harder for retirees to find the returns they need on their savings to keep pace with rising costs. The challenge will be how to manage what you have left in the face of higher-than-average expenses, especially in sectors like healthcare, which will likely continue to see steep price increases. So, what can retirees do to protect themselves in this uncertain economic climate? First and foremost, it's crucial to be proactive about managing your finances. Review your budget and adjust it to reflect new priorities. Are there areas where you can cut back on spending? Could you potentially downsize your living situation or cut out luxuries? Taking a hard look at your expenses and trimming the fat can help extend the longevity of your savings. Investing in assets that provide some level of inflation protection is another smart move. Inflation-protected securities, like TIPS, Treasury inflation-protected securities, and real estate investment trusts, REITs, can help preserve your purchasing power. These assets tend to perform better when inflation is high, making them a good hedge against rising prices. Furthermore, consider shifting investments into more resilient sectors like healthcare and energy, which may provide more stable returns. Another important strategy is diversifying your sources of income. Many retirees are finding success in taking on part-time freelance work, consulting, or even monetizing hobbies to supplement their retirement income. Even small additional streams of revenue can help ease the financial burden caused by inflation. Finally, ensure you are withdrawing money from your retirement accounts in the most tax-efficient way. By working with a financial advisor, you can make sure your 401k or IRA withdrawals are structured to minimize taxes and help preserve your capital for the long term. Inflation is undeniably a challenge, but it's not insurmountable. With careful planning, thoughtful adjustments to your investment strategy, and a willingness to adapt to changing circumstances, retirees can continue to live comfortably despite economic fluctuations. The key is to stay informed, stay flexible, and make decisions that help protect your wealth in the short and long term. While inflation may continue to threaten your purchasing power, your ability to manage your resources and plan for the future can help ensure that your retirement remains a time of peace and fulfillment, rather than one of uncertainty and financial strain. Inflation and retirement can be challenging, but with careful planning and the right strategies, you can protect your savings and maintain peace of mind in your retirement years. If you found this information helpful, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more tips on managing your finances. Remember, taking the time to stay informed and make smart decisions today can lead to a more secure tomorrow. Stay on top of your finances. Your future self will thank you for it.